Welcome to the Narrowboat with James Built. Hope you guys are very well. Well, now I'm doing all the wiring in the boat. I need to get the nav lights on. And before I do, I just want to go over with one more coat of undercoat before I put the light on, and we'll never see this bit of metal again. So kind of go all the way around it, well outside the area, so that when top coats go on in the springtime or whenever, then I don't have to take the light off basically, because this is Sikaflexed in place. Right, so there's loads of jobs like this to do today on the boat. I'm making use of the fact that it's quite fine weather today. So there's a bit of this. I've got to do some work on the gas locker, and then we've got to get that in place ready for the gas man to come in. I need to kind of sort out the galley a little bit, ready for the gas man to come in, and drill a hole in the bulkhead ready for the gas man to come in. So that's on the plan today. There's a few other bits and pieces, but it's mostly about wiring at the moment, as you know. So I've got a lot of work to do above my head, as you know, so I'm just kind of taking it slowly, bit by bit, to try to preserve my neck and shoulders. Excellent. Right, before I put the nav lights on, what I want to do is put the connections on. So it's a few less connections to have to do above my head, and these are going to take the female parts, not the male parts. So each one is going to have 3 bits of heat shrink on it: a big fat one, a medium-y one, and then a skinny one, in that order. And after yesterday's video, obviously lots of people commented there's lots of different kind of connectors to look at, and indeed I shall for the ceiling lights, because obviously I've got a lot of them to do. Right, so there's the first one in. That's got the heat shrink on it. I haven't got my, this is the heat source I'm using this time. So, old school. I think we did this actually in school. We used lighters. Alright, there's that bit. And then we go on with the slightly fatter one. This is where they all kind of go into each other. So, leave the fat one right at the top. And then this one here just wants to rest up against the connector, but it's just to give that a bit of padding. It's going to have more heat on there in a second, so just kind of wedge it in place. And then this one here goes over all the way up to there, and then it will nicely clamp on there because we've made the cable bigger. Excellent. So that's what they look like. So it's a bit of a rig roll, don't get me wrong, but nicely secured in, ready to take the male connectors. But at least they all feed through the hole, and I don't have to be doing all of that standing up above my head. As I said, I've got enough to do. Right, so that's the nav lights done. Now I've got to do the tunnel lights. Okay, so I'm still burning only kindling in the fire. I've put a couple of very small logs in there, but I haven't got any coal in there at the moment. I'm not going for anything which produces a massive amount of heat. Still kind of letting it temper for a bit. But anyway, postman's bin. So I've got a couple of bits here. A little something to assist with the newly installed stove. Oh, that's apt. From Adrian. Thank you, mate. Ah, excellent. It is a thermometer. Now, does that hang up? Or is that? Or does it just rest on there? Oh. Ah, it's a magnet. Okay. Let's see what happens with that. Thank you very much, Adrian. That's really useful to have obviously a thermometer on for that. That is brilliant. I'd said there is a use of a radar thermometer here, which I haven't used yet because it hasn't really come up to temperature. But that's good at measuring the temperature of surfaces that you can't really reach. But this is good to find out, obviously, the temperature of the flue at any time. Right. Ah, there's a note on this one as well. Good. I can't bear to watch you use a chisel to open boxes. Well, yeah, fair enough. Thank you, it's very kind. That is brilliant. Thank you, Jimbo. Right, and then, oh, here we go. Right. This is where I slice my hand off. Oh, here we go. Cool. Oh, so much better than a chisel, Jimbo. This is well wrapped. Hi James, just a little note to tell you where it all came from. Love the videos and what you're doing to the boat. We are double subscribers, John C and London Magnet Fishing. Well, London Magnet Fishing, actually I've seen some of your, oh thank you mate. Right, there's a few bits there, okay. Wow. Hole saw kit, brilliant. Now these are brilliant. So this is a windlass, obviously, for going through the locks, but this one has got a handle with a kind of a handle that moves around it, and it looks like it's got a magnet on it. But these are brilliant because they obviously spin, and if you don't have the handle grip that spins with it, it's a real palaver. So yeah, that is a brilliant one. Thank you very much. Literally the most important thing in doing up a narrowboat is a boatload of pencils. Oh, jigsaw blades. Oh mate, that is amazing. More jigsaw blades. Oh wow. And some posi drills. Joke toilet paper. Check those guys out. The amount of stuff you find magnet fishing, it's amazing. Some people just leave it on the side of the cut, which is obviously not very good, but
you know, shopping trolleys and bicycles and things, but people have picked out old World War II bombs and you know, unexploded grenades and stuff like that. So I'm pretty glad you haven't sent me any of that stuff, in fairness, but the things you have sent are absolutely brilliant. So thank you so much. This is actually so funny. This was on my list of things to purchase. So you've saved me there, mate. Thank you. That is very kind of you. Right, let's crack on. But just before I crack on, this note from John, I'm just going to read this last bit. Basically, he is a magnet fisherman, London magnet fishing, but he sent me some Bosch jigsaw blades, as you just saw, and he just says here, the reason I'm sending these is because my dad was a regular viewer of yours and recently passed away due to COVID, and he left me a shed load of tools. He always liked to have spare ones, so I ended up with quite a lot and don't think I could ever use them in all of my lifetime. So I thought I'd send you a few, and I think of my dad would like to see them put to good use. Well, that's really touched me, John. I'm sorry to hear that about your dad, mate. That's but yeah, they certainly will be put to very good use. Thank you.
Well, I'm just trying to clear up this area as much as I can, because there's lots of flake paint around here and rusty patches and stuff. So I'm going to get rid of it all, take it all back and red oxide the whole lot, and then I can apply some grey primer in a day or two. To show you how little I've done in this area, I've just discovered this boat has a stern light. I mean, it's never been connected, but I've never even noticed it before. Shows you how little I've been around here. As I take this tow rope off, mooring rope, that John put on for when the crane comes, seems like a good time to tell you about a crane. There is a crane booked for the 1st of March, and I'm hoping to get myself on it for that day. I think there's a few boats being lifted that day, so we've got a 100-tonner coming, which is what we're going to need, because this boat's got to be lifted kind of quite high up over that boat and onto a trolley. So it needs a 100-tonner to do that. So that's why it's February, so it's a bit of a short month. So it's kind of 3.5 weeks is the kind of the countdown now. The good thing about sharing a crane is that it reduces the crane costs, which for a 100-tonner is quite considerable. So that will be the plan, is to get on that day. So really, that's another reason why I just want to crack on with some of these outside jobs, because you can't really do this so easily once you're on the cut. All the other bits, when I say on the cut, I mean here, there's still a lot of restrictions in terms of navigation, and it's just, you know, it's still locked down and restrictions everywhere. So I'll be, you know, you see my little mooring spot that I've got here, all that John's earmarked for me. So I can still do a load of the fit out then. To be honest, the thing I'd like to prevent is slapping all the boards down there. So I'd like to get it lined in the next 3 weeks as well, before that stuff has to go down there. But that's, you know, I'd say I'm probably more than halfway through that. So that's kind of a bearable thing to say now, to kind of finish the lining out. So yeah, there's still quite a lot of painting to. I mean, this stuff is just, oh, it's a bit painstaking, just scraping the kind of the big bits off, and it is coming off. It's just like everything. It's just a lot of it, like a hell of a lot of it. And once you start it, you kind of think, well, actually, it's only elbow grease preventing me from having a really nice finish, because the steel is good. And when you see some of the boats that they have in the paint shed here, a good finish is just the absolute best. Painting over flaked paint, you can spot it a mile off. And I'm really trying, certainly on areas like this, which are kind of like highly noticeable areas, if you like. A lot of the gunnels will have that matting stuff down, painted onto it, which kind of gives it some grip down the gunnels. But this stuff here, you're not really walking here, but this is close to where you're sitting, so I'm going to want this a little bit like in the bow bedroom area. I'm going to want this to be as kind of good a surface as I can get. And then tomorrow, when there's a bit of light, open to red oxide all of this. I'm not going to give it any other rust treatment other than red oxide, which in itself is a rust treater. But it's because this is really sturdy stuff. It doesn't get much. It gets a bit of water on it, but this is not at risk of corrosion. This is all pretty sound stuff. So I'm just going to, as I said, red oxide it and then primer. I think actually now I need to start kind of working on this area. Getting this looking good is half the battle for me, because if it's all a mess and it looks crap, I just don't want to go anywhere near the area. But if this is all tidied up and clean and looking presentable, then it kind of encourages me into the engine bay, of which I've got a load of stuff to do in there. It's filled again with water, so I need to pump it out again. But I only really want to do that once I've got a position where I can put something on top of it. And to do that, before we do that, we want to move the gear lever to the other side, to the port side, just because it's bang in the middle of the whole stern deck there, which is a pain. And if you remember this video where we got it started, it kind of goes, it's got like a 6-foot travel on it. So we're going to try to move it over there near the Norse control, and then at least it's kind of out of the way, it's to one side. So me or the kids or whoever isn't kind of tripping up over it, which would harm the gearbox. Injure them. The stove came with one of these fire gloves, hot gloves, whatever they're called, and they're so good. So I think you probably go through quite a few of those. But I've got a few lumps of coal in there now. There's 3, so it's not exactly going for it. But this thermometer now is, that Adrian got me earlier, is registering 100 degrees, 200 Fahrenheit at the moment. It's still only little, so we'll see how that kind of goes. It's a nice smell now, it's burning coal. I know that's a bad thing to say. It's kind of traditional. Temperature's creeping up. I'm not here to give you a commentary on that. Yes, loads of electric connections done today, which was good. It needs to be done. As I said, I'm just going to take my time with it because, well, there's a lot to do and it's all quite painstaking, to be honest. It's all kind of above the head and a bit of a hassle. So just doing bits and pieces. But outside in the stern, I'm kind of looking forward to cracking on with that tomorrow in the daylight, and sweeping it all down and putting on the red primer. It's just going to make it look much better, and as I said, it's going to encourage me into the engine well, which I've got to do some work on there now. At least get the framework done for the stern to make sure that I can get the
decking down correctly. I still need to have a look at other examples and make sure I'm kind of getting that done in the best way. I think there is some good kind of platform there, and much like some advice I've taken here from the from others on the wharf, I think it's certainly just to make kind of battens and to lay it down as decking, and as I said, to kind of put something down there to shield the water away, whether it's PVC or whatever it is, but just so that rainwater isn't hitting the engine. If it's going into the bilge, that's fine, but yeah, just don't want it to hit the engine. So anyway, so there's plenty to kind of crack on with in the engine bay. Gas locker didn't quite go in today, that should go in tomorrow, and the surveyor's given us all the information we need for the pipe, so I need to get myself some pipe, which is going to work out cheaper than it is for us to make up a tube out of steel and weld it all together and stuff. It's just going to be much easier to put a pipe on. So there's a special gas pipe that you need. I think it's the 1221 or something. Anyway, this the surveyor's told me what I need for that, so I'll make sure I get one of them tomorrow if I can. But yeah, crack on with the stern tomorrow, and put the nav lights on when I can see, and yeah, kind of a few more outsidey bits whilst the weather's okay would be good. Anyway, hope you guys are well. Until next time, take care. Bye bye.